Hi, my name is Leah Day, and I'm here with my husband Josh, and he is stitching out pebbles and a spiral in one of our slash star blocks. So let's get started. Okay, so getting started here, I'm noticing you're doing something a little different with this block.
Yes, there were so many circles here, and I tried to stay on the line, and I just couldn't with the sheer volume of them. So I took one from an earlier block, and I'm doing underwater rocks. And what I'm doing, it's a combination of echoing and travel stitching over the line, so it's okay to go off.
Perfect, that looks great. I really love that design. I love the effect that it gives for your quilt, and I love that you can just kind of let everything happen as it happens. You just kind of flow into each circle or oval shape. I just love that kind of lack of attention to detail. It makes me happy. I think it's just your concentration's going completely to staying within the circles, and that's totally understandable.
I'm trying to do curved shapes too, and that's tough. Yeah, you can see right there.
Feels distracting.
Yes.
I felt the same way when I started quilting and I was stitching sharp angles, like sharp points. It did this exact same thing to me. It was very distracting. It was hard to get a good flow.
No, that's interesting. Sharp points have never been difficult for me. It's just been the curves.
Everybody's different.
Okay, and now I'm going to move in and I'm going to do these echoes. And when I get to the center, we have something interesting here. There's a spiral, and I'm actually going to complete that entire external circle of the spiral.
Yeah, this actually, whenever you have the fabric printed on cheater cloth, and this is a little different, and this experience is going to be very different if you pieced your blocks, because the piece blocks are very wonky, and these points don't match up. The star is not going to be this exact shape. So with the spoonflower blocks, you actually do have a full printed circle that you can stitch the outline of the circle first and then go inside for your open spiral. So that's just something unique to this cheater cloth fabric that Josh is working with. Now, echoes are one of those things. This is kind of all based on the design that I call Echo Shell. At this point, do you think you'd be able to quilt that freehand without any marked lines?
Yes.
Space everything out okay?
Yes, definitely.
It's one of those things with visualization. When I first got started, I did a lot of marking just in order to kind of see where I was supposed to put the lines, where they would be parallel and nicely echoed. And it took a little bit of time, but eventually I was able to stitch it without marks. And I think that that's just kind of the normal progression of every quilter. Start with marking lines definitely makes things easier.
And if you're just getting started, I can't emphasize that enough. I needed everything marked for the first several blocks. I couldn't do it. I couldn't see it. Now let's see. I believe I'm in the circle right now, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yeah, so just go all the way around the circle.
Here. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go all around the circle, moving outside of this triangle.
Yeah. Perfect. And don't forget to stop and reposition your hands whenever it feels too tight. And this is the fun thing about wonky blocks. You know, the piecing for this block is it was really free form and funky, but nothing is going to match up. And this is definitely going to be a different experience for every block that you quilt within this slash star. It's just the way it was pieced. That was the way it was designed. However, you know, the spoonflower is kind of the more idealized version. It's what I designed on paper. It's not what actually ends up in the piecing. But it's still fun to quilt it. Okay, so now you're starting on the spiral. And correct me if I'm wrong, but spirals are a lot easier now too.
Yes, much easier. It's what's interesting. I actually find them easier than a bunch of circles to get put together.
Okay, good to know.
And my goal when doing a curved shape like this is not to make any bird's beaks, and that's sharp points, because that just looks terrible.
No jagged edges.
Except for the center of the spiral where you want a jagged edge, and there's a little secret for that, which Leah shared before, and I'm going to do right now. You stop your needle. Just stop right there, because that naturally gives you the point.
Yeah, it's something about stopping and kind of maybe even repositioning your hands and thinking about it, you know, giving it a little thought. It helps you change that direction really accurately. I found when I first started that I'd oftentimes make something that was supposed to be pointy, kind of slightly curved. And it was because I wasn't stopping, making a nice accurate dead stop and getting that crisp edge that I needed. So that's it for stitching pebbling and a spiral into one of our slash star blocks. After it's all said and done, do you like pebbling better or do you like this underwater rocks variation?
From a aesthetic standpoint, I like pebbling better.
Because it's prettier.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's clean.
Yes.
Okay.
And one of Leah's favorite fillers, Pebbles in a Stream, I always love that one, and I look forward to the day when I'm able to do it properly, and it looks, maybe a tenth of her ability at least. Right now it'd be like maybe a 75th.
Well, you're getting there. You're getting there. But underwater rocks is a good alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, if stitching on a line of travel stitching is a struggle for you, I know I struggled with pebbling when I first started quilting because I kept breaking thread every time I tried to stitch it. And the reason was my thread, when it layered on top of itself for travel stitching, when it layered maybe more than once or twice, it would break. And so every time I stitched a pebble, basically I'd break thread. It was very annoying and I couldn't stitch it for that reason. So underwater rocks, if you're experiencing that same thing, underwater rocks might work out better for you simply because those lines of stitching are more spread out. It's kind of a mixture of travel stitching and echoing. You're not really staying on those lines. It's kind of messy, it's kind of freeform, but it's a lot of fun. So I hope that you'll give this a try. My name is Leah Day, and I've been here with my husband Josh, and he has been stitching out a block from the Building Blocks Quilt-Along. You can find the cheater cloth, the spoonflower cheater cloth fabric that Josh has been using at spoonflower.com, and join us as we learn how to quilt all 42 blocks in this series. Find the fabric at Spoonflower, and if you actually want to do the pattern instead, you can find the pattern at leahday.com. Until next time,
Let's go quilt.